everybody, I'm back in the shop again today. In our last video, I put together a plasma cutting cart and I'm going to be using that today. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be cutting out pieces that go on the backhoe tractor bucket for holding the pallet forks on it. And I'm going to explain to you what I have done so far that I didn't film. So what I did is I went out and I traced out onto a piece of cardboard and got that shape. I traced it down onto a thin piece of steel and then I cut it out. This is our pattern, but you might notice that, doesn't it look a little smaller? Well, it does. This here is a whole 3/8 of an inch smaller all the way around than what the actual piece is. And inside here, this is actually bigger by a whole 3/8 of an inch for a reason. So the pattern here with the plasma cutter here, the end of the plasma cutter here, get close up, from there to there is 3/8 of an inch. So when I follow this edge around, then I will get a perfect cut to the actual size. And as you can see in this picture, so as you can see, the pattern is smaller than the actual cutout. So today what we'll be doing is we'll be taking the 1/2 inch steel that we have here that I'm going to be cutting. I'm going to put it on the table, which I've already done off camera. And it's really heavy, so I'm not going to redo it. And we're going to go ahead and lay our pattern out and clamp it down, and then we're going to cut it out. So that's the plan for this morning. So stick around and I hope you guys enjoy the video. So as you guys can see in this time lapse here, when I was cutting with the plasma cutter, I was going back and forth, and it's because it wasn't cutting all the way through. And I didn't realize at the time I had it set at like 32 amps instead of the 53, which is its max. So I ended up not being able to cut it with the plasma cutter, and ended up the end of the plasma cutter welded itself or whatever, and it wouldn't actually cut. So because it wasn't cutting very well, I found it annoying, and I got the torch out. You can see it wasn't cutting all the way through, and there it's set. The dial is at like 33 instead of 53. And it just wasn't cutting very nice. It was gumming up in there. So I got the torch out, and I used the torch instead to cut it. Thinking back now, if I would have checked that dial, then I would have been able to cut it all out with the plasma cutter, but I didn't do that. So I ended up doing with the torch. I cut a couple pieces out that way, got fed up with it, went back to the plasma cutter with a new tip on it, and I busted them out the rest of the way with that. But again, I did not check the dial on it, which is why later in the video you'll see me doing a lot of grinding. Here I was working on the car. This is a little brake. I went ahead and I pulled the bumper off the front. I had to drill a couple holes and weld on some nuts, which of course I disconnected the battery. And I put a light bar on the front. You can see the bolt sticking through there. And the light bar is on, and I got it wired up, and it works amazing. Well, everyone, I'm going to be doing a lot of grinding. I got 4 of these cut out, clamped in the vise, and clamped in the vise grips. I got to ground them all to where they're about the same there, and kind of get them the same out here so that there's no binding when I put them on the tractor. You see where the plates they'll be welded to. They'll be spaced 12 inches apart, and they'll be mounted right on here. And with that 12 inches, that gives us 7.5 inches of movement back and forth, because this here from side to side is 4.5 inches. So we got 2 of those, and we'll be doing that. That way these forks can go on this tractor. That way we can use them. Got a lot of grinding to do, so I guess I better get back to work. So as you guys can see here, I cut the plates out, and I'm talking about calling it a day. Those plates are all cut out. I did adjust the amperage there, and that's when I realized it. And here, I'm talking about all the grinding that I got to do and how they all have to be as close as possible, because when you hook on the forks, you don't want the longer ones to catch before the shorter ones and, bend up the bar or anything like that, because we don't want any binding whenever we hook onto the forks. So we just want to make sure everything's perfect. I'm going to show you over here. The bars here, these were on the forks originally. You can see how bent up they are. Some of that happens from trying to hook onto it and binding on it, and some of it happens because I ran into some tree stumps with the forks when pushing trees over and bent the bar. So we will have those all ground up and pretty smooth, pretty close to the same as each other, just so that it will hook on nicely and there won't be any binding. That way everything moves really good. Well guys, I got one side tacked on. This bar here is fully welded on this one side. Start to weld on the other. But this here will give us plenty of space for those forks to slide back and forth. And that'll be solid in there. That one's tacked. This one here's got its first pass on everything. We'll be doing a triple pass on all of this. That'll be fun. So now I just gotta mimic this side over there. Get it all with the first pass, and then I'll come back and do a double pass on this one. I might let it cool a little bit and then do my triple pass, but I'll do a double pass on that one. Bounce back to this one, do a triple pass, bounce back over to there, do the triple pass on that one, and then they'll be done. So yeah, let me stick these forks on there. Well guys, I got this all welded up. Now the next thing I gotta do, I cut some pieces of angle iron and drill them, and they get welded on here and here. So a pin can go through on that one, and the same over here to hold this bar onto here. Well guys, I ended up fixing a crack that was right there. I primed it when I was done, but otherwise I got these done. So they're all welded up. I've got spots for these pins. These pins will have to get finished out, but they'll go right there. So same on this side, pin right there. This is all welded up like it should be. And there was another crack right there, so I fixed that as well. Everything's in primer, and we'll get it painted with the right color and call it good enough. Well guys, we got the forks on the tractor at the moment. I think they fit pretty good. Pretty tight. Not too much play to them. Come in, pretty narrow. I'm not sure how narrow. I guess I'll have to measure that. But what I need to do is put a point back here with a hook welded on for these chains, and that'll keep the bottoms from pulling out. I'm gonna do that on both sides. I also have to make a rod that'll go from here over to here and hold the forks tight over against this side, or vice versa. Not too bad. I was talking to the Ranger, and I think we're gonna go ahead and make some boxes that go from here down on either side, and we'll mount the headlight in there, and then we'll put a cage in front of it so that they don't get busted. We'll mount lights on the bucket, So if it's light and we're moving stuff, we have light wherever this bucket goes. And then of course, there's a light up there. We're gonna add another one back to here like they're supposed to be, fix them up. And then I'll put one reverse light aiming back right on this corner. Not gonna work, that's too small. Picky here. Two are the same, we'll just do that. That should work. Anyways, these will get welded on right here. So, maybe right here. Perfect, it'll fit right on there and just get welded right on. There we go, guys. We've got these welded on here. It's installed. That'll hold it on really good. This thing is ready for use. There's one last thing to do for sure before it could be used. And that's this. Come over here. You just tell just a little on the damp side probably. But that's okay. Drop them right through there. On that side, one there, and boom. The puppy's locked in now. We can grab our pins. And those pins will push all the way through. All the way through like that. That way they can't get accidentally knocked out. There you go, guys. That's as narrow as the forks go. Which is 54 and 3/4, so about 55 inches is as narrow as those go. Then, I'll adjust all the way out to about 72 inches. So that's about perfect. Well guys, this is the end of the video. I got the tractor in the shed here. Or warehouse, I should say. And there's the tractor with the forks on it. That there's the swinger. And this is the backhoe tractor right over here. So you can see what I was making on the other tractor was this here basically. As you can see, these ones are much closer. I don't have my tape measure on me, but that's only like maybe 7 inches apart, 7-8 inches apart. It's not very much, it's pretty narrow. This outside one is way further in, than what the one is on the tractor over there. But, you know, it still works. We want to be able to use the forks on this tractor once in a while still yet. So that's why we're not taking those off of there. But we want to be able to use the forks on this tractor most of the time. But you can see that is a whole lot wider. So it gives us a lot of adjustment, which is perfect. I went out and I lifted up the grader with this thing. I don't know what that grader weighs, but it's heavy enough that sitting on those forks, being way out there, it was hopping these rear tires. And I was on a little bit of ice and it wouldn't go forward. That's the downfall to this tractor. It's two-wheel drive. That's not enough weight on the back. So I might address that. We might put a bigger weight that can fasten onto here, but I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, that's it for what I'm going to do on this tractor for now. We'll get some paint. We'll paint that at some point, but in the meantime, it's primed. It ain't going to rust. It's all good. Everything's all set. So I'm going to call that a night. That tractor. Now we can use it for the most part without the forks. So that's great. But we can still put the forks on it. So that's awesome. So, all right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm sorry I didn't record more of what I was doing. I was just kind of wanting to get it done. All right. Well, thanks for following along. And we'll catch you on the next one.